One of the fans wanted to know, do you feel like you gained or lost speed after Tommy John surgery? He says he's seen a lot of pitchers gain speed because of Tommy John.
Um, I can tell you this. I had a pretty good arm before TJ, and at the 8.5 month mark right now, my arm is stronger than it would be at the 8.5 month mark without injury. Here's why. People that aren't in the game don't understand the details of the rehab process of any type of injury, especially TJ. I got a brand new tendon in my elbow. I was shut down from even picking up anything really for almost 2 months. And me as a catcher, I'm coming back doing pitcher's rehab. So we're talking strengthening the front shoulder, the back shoulder, your scap, your elbow, forearm, wrist, you name it, and it's detailed as hell. And that's why it makes the rehab process so difficult because it does take a ridiculous amount of time, especially for pitchers. Luckily, I'm not a pitcher, but I do have to be more detailed in my rehab because I throw more than any pitcher does during a game. So I still have the volume of throws and the actions of throwing. I just don't, I'm just not on the bump. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And so I've actually come back a lot stronger because I've been given 8.5 months to solely focus on my flexibility, my shoulder strength, my elbow strength, the fluidity of my arm motion. And I finished throwing at 150 feet just shy of 8 months. And one of my guys that got surgery the week after I did, at the same time, he was just finishing up throwing at 90 feet.
Wow.
And so it's different for everybody, but you give somebody, especially a professional, you give a professional pitcher 12 to 18 months to solely focus on rebuilding that strength and fluidity and flexibility. It's almost, I'm not going to say guaranteed, but it's as close as guaranteed as possible that they come back gaining velocity.
So one of the things that we've seen more is not only more Tommy John surgeries and like major elbow injuries with pitchers, but also with position players too. Matt Wieters got it, I think, in 2015, and it kind of started from there where there were a lot of catchers, a couple shortstops that were getting it too. So what do you think are the biggest reasoning for both the position players and the pitchers, why this is happening more often?
I think from a pitching standpoint, I think we have so many guys developing early in their lives, excuse me. And so they're throwing harder and putting more torque on their elbows and shoulders at a younger age than it used to be. They're doing that stuff at 14, 15, 16 years old, where it used to be you might occasionally see a few guys on a team in college throwing mid 90s. You know what I'm saying? Now it's like you got high school kids throwing 100, and this, that, and the other. So I think it just starts with the development process, honestly. Like, so many more guys are putting that stress and that torque on their elbows and shoulders at a young age before they've fully developed into an adult with the muscles, with the body, this, that, and the other. And from a position player standpoint, I just feel like with the amount of games that we play and the amount of throws that we make just in general, we have so much to do off of the field, like already, like us, like catchers wise. We got meetings after meetings. We got to hit. We got to do this. I honestly think a lot of guys over time, they we lose strength in here because we have to use it so much, and we also don't have the like, think about it. We don't have the recovery that everybody else does, position players, and now you're expected to do more. You're expected to play more games, this, that, and the other. You don't have time to do arm care. You don't play 3 games to get a day off. Like Matt Wieters caught regularly. Like nowadays, you got guys like Yadi Molina, who's a freak, who catches 150 games a year. Even in year 18 or whatever it is, you got Salvador Perez catching almost 162 games a year, and he's 34-ish, something like that. And so it's just like the demand for those superstars, those main players, to play every day is getting so high. They never have time to give themselves a break to rest, to recover. And so I just think it's going to be, I think it personally is just going to happen more and more, especially on a position player standpoint, because now not only do you have more guys playing throughout the season, but you also have more guys playing throughout the winter too.
Bruce, what are your thoughts with the international game, the growth of baseball all over the world? You're watching this kid, Suzuki, he comes into the league at 27 years old. He's taking it by storm. What are your thoughts to the growth of the game internationally?
I think it's fucking awesome, personally. I think we could learn a thing or two, probably more than a thing or two, from other leagues and how they embrace the game of baseball. Think about it. Have you ever seen highlights of games over in Japan, Korea, even here in Mexico? Packed houses, music, people going crazy, and the passion that the other cultures play with is unmatched, man. And because these guys come over to us and they get shunned for it, but people don't understand that's how they play the game in their country or in their area or whatever it is. But they play it with passion. Like, you talk shit, I'm gonna talk shit back. You get me and I get you. But it's literally all in the game of competition, really. I love the fact that the international eyes are on the game of baseball, because in the MLB, that's the highest level of baseball in the world. But I love the fact that we're starting to integrate a little more when it comes to the Koreas, the Japans, even with, Kepler out in Germany and stuff, because, I'm one of those in that category also. But it's like, I want to see it expand. I want to see it reach other cultures, because I feel like it's kind of what America stands for. All these different cultures and people coming together to make a great America. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that shouldn't stop in the game, in any sport, if that makes sense.
Oh, it makes a lot of sense, especially all the crazy people, including Jeff, who calls the show screaming about the Yankees. I mean, everybody's nuts. If it's not baseball fans, it's basketball and football fans. They'll beat the hell out of each other out in the if it's not on the field, it's in the audience. It's crazy. I mean, next thing you know, you'll mix a little wrestling with football or wrestling with baseball, and they're hitting each other with chairs.
Yankees fans are tough, man.
Even
when I played for Oakland, man, the Yankees, Boston, even when I played against the Mets, they're brutal, man. It's either they hate you just because you're not in their uniform, or they hate their own team because they're not. Hate going on. Like, it's like, I remember talking to Cano getting booed when he first got to the Yankees, and then he got to the Mets, they booed him again, and then Aaron Judge getting booed in Yankee Stadium. I'm just like, bro, how does that happen? Like, how do you get booed by your own people? And it's the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Mets,
the Dodgers. The Dodgers too. Yeah.
If their fans show up until the third inning.
Yeah, but it's like, I just don't understand, like, how they can be so passionate and be diehard their fans, but at the same time, they literally hate every other team, and if their team's not doing well, they hate them too. I don't get it. Like,
So one of our fans has another good question. John says, since you were born in Germany, did you play any ball over there, or did you start playing once you moved to the States, you and your family?
I was only living over there for about the first 3 years of life, my man. But I do have dual citizenship. My dad was in the military, and so I was born over there. I'm the only one of my three kids. But I do play for their national team for the Classic. And so I played for Deutschland. I played for them in 16. We were going to get ready to play for them in 20 before COVID shut us down out in Tucson, Arizona. But I do play for their national team. I do still work with guys over there, and I keep in touch with my coaches and the ambassador over there as well for sports.